All right, and this is episode number 15 of the Wrestling Roundtable podcast, where we talk about all things wrestling. We talk about usually all things WWE because that's what most of us watch here. But we've got a really cool show here. We just coming off of a Saturday night's main event that was actually pretty good. But first, I think we need to talk a little bit about the big news that happened in WWE this past week of WrestleMania 42 no longer being in New Orleans. As always, I'm Ryan Hall, Dominique LaRue, and Dom. Not like we got anything to talk about this week.
Yeah. Uh we have a lot to talk about outside of the ring, but I mean, we do have some inside the ring from last night, which was probably out of the four is definitely number one of Saturday night main event
Mm-hmm.
because of the surprises and the returns and it was maybe two lackluster finishes, but one was more predictable than the other one. But if you keep up with WWE like we do, um, one was definitely needed because a performer need time off because he's dealing with an injury.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it ended could have been better for as like the finish. But the way it ended was definitely needed to keep him looking strong until he gets back. I mean, I don't know how getting injured makes you look strong. But in his case, he was already injured anyway. So,
Yeah.
and the guy I'm talking about is Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, no, Drew McIntyre came into that cage match against Damian Priest Saturday night. He had been working hurt for a while, and he's going to be taking some time off to let his neck heal up because, as we all know, pro wrestling really does some damage on your neck. Um,
Another
ask
dreaded neck injury.
ask poor Big E, ask Kurt Angle, who won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. But um, yeah, no, we'll get to that here in a second. But I kind of feel like the big news that came out of WWE a few days ago was that WrestleMania 42, which has been set for New Orleans for several months, just got pulled. Now, I don't, obviously, neither one of us are in the boardrooms of, of like like what goes on behind closed doors. But if the reporting is right, is that they're saying another city put in a far bigger bid. That other city is more than likely Las Vegas again. But you're pulling WrestleMania from New Orleans. First of all, a city that has hosted countless Super Bowls, countless Final Fours. They know how to do a big event right in that city. But at the same time, like it's never just the event in the stadium with stuff like this. For a WrestleMania, you've got Raw, you've got SmackDown, you got to have a place to host the Hall of Fame ceremony. You've got NXT shows, you've got independent shows, you've got the big conventions, and it just really rubs me the wrong way because one of the biggest things in Las Vegas this year for WrestleMania is that the ticket prices were just stupid. Were just absolutely stupid, like $500 just to get a nosebleed seat. Um, I just hope with this corporatifying that the TKO Corporation is bringing out, I hope that it doesn't end up pricing out the average fans, the average fans like you and me. Like, I wasn't going to be able to go to New Orleans next year anyway. But my point is that you've got so many, it's never just the event. It's never just the event when you pull something out of a city like this. And they're giving New Orleans. I used this analogy in our group chat a few days, and I'm going to shut up here in a second. But I used this analogy in our group chat the other day. Pulling WrestleMania out of New Orleans, but then giving them money in the bank is almost like pulling the Super Bowl out of the city, but letting you have a college football playoff quarterfinal game as a consolation prize. What are your thoughts here? Because I could go on all night about how ridiculous and how short-sighted this is.
Well, to tag in and also go along with what you were saying, I totally agree on it. Um, it's like getting a birthday cake that you always wanted, right? You're looking forward to, that you've been told that you're going to get for your birthday, and then come birth come your birthday, and you come and here's your cake, and it's nowhere compared to what you envisioned your birthday cake to be. It's like it's twice as small. Uh, not you don't get to all the bells and whistles of it, and it's like, hey, I mean, it's still a cake. We still give you a pretty
Sure.
good big event, and it's like, nah, man, nah, you're not. Because I mean, this is WrestleMania. It's the Super Bowl of pro wrestling. It's
Yes.
the NBA Finals of like the biggest spectacle of the year. Like this is what we look forward to going throughout the entire year, just to come up and like you've already. First of all, by the way, this is another L that The Rock has taken,
Good
because
boy.
man has
Yes.
taken L after L after L after L in WWE terms, with coming out and shaking Cody's hand and putting some in his hand, and they never follow through on that. Then he comes out and he sits there on NXT, and here's another ploy to get people to watch NXT more. Hey, sit there and enjoy the ride that The Rock is taking you on. Okay, Rock, sure, we'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's seemingly going okay. We're in our minds like, okay, what kind of ride are we going on? It's a disaster. It's feel like Final Destination ride. This what it feels like. We get the bad blood, right? He comes out, do the whole 1, 2, 3 thing. We don't know what that was, what it was ever going to be, and why did you even do that? To the point where every wrestling fan, anybody with a mic, anybody with some type of common sense, would sit there and try to figure out, like, okay, well, maybe the one was for Cody Rhodes. I mean, not Cody. Yeah, one for Cody Rhodes or John Cena, or the two was for Seth Rollins or whoever, or the three was for. It was none of that. None of it. Not even with the whole John Cena sold his soul. It didn't even make sense, because we get to Elimination Chamber, and now, granted, it was a big heel turn, because I mean it took 20 something years for it to
Of
happen,
course. Yeah.
and we finally had it again. He went from heel to babyface and became the longest running babyface of all time, and then turned around and become a heel on his retirement tour. But then when he becomes a heel, all his promos have nothing to do with The Rock, none whatsoever. He don't mention The Rock. He don't mention why he sold his soul to The Rock, to the point where he didn't even sell his soul to The Rock. It was just the fact that he wanted to break up with the WWE universe, because he was tired of getting poo-pooed on, basically. Now, if we would have just basically did that instead of The Rock being associated with that, this is by far probably been the best heel turn of all time. but it's been lackluster to say the least.
And that's being very kind.
And that's being very kind. And then when him saying he's going to ruin wrestling, I mean, he's not ruining wrestling. He's ruining his. Let's see. He's ruining his heel turn. He's ruining the whole storyline of him turning heel. And it's like, when is he going to turn back to the old John Cena at this point? Because Logan Paul is a better heel than John Cena at this moment. And I mean, Logan Paul ain't even got to open his mouth. Logan Paul can just show up, and he'll be a better heel than John Cena.
Show up with that awful music.
With that god awful, I'm humble music. It is. Anyway, to continue on with the
like just to let our audience know, you were getting a little heated beforehand, and
I got heated beforehand. I'm getting heated now. I can just think about all the crap because it's like The Rock was basically wasted. Like, I don't know if he realized that, but we get you're on the board of TKO. We get the fact that TKO is now the overall say all be all of WWE. The old man is not there anymore, but it's like, with so much great things that happened to WWE since the old man has left, it's like this big corporation cloud that is over WWE, where we're getting too much quantity over quality. And then, as us casual wrestling fans or any diehard wrestling fan, like, let's face it, the economy ain't that great. So, for you to be asking us for the prices you're currently asking us to go see an event is diabolical.
Yep.
You're asking me to, like, either take care of my family versus going to see someone that gets paid quite well to perform and entertain me. I'd rather watch you on TV.
Thank you.
Like, I mean, at that point, I'd rather watch you on TV. Like, I cannot fork out that much. And then on top of that, like, me being a New Orleans Saints fan, I've been in New Orleans, but I've never been in the Superdome. And like, that's one of my goals, to attend a Saints game or Wrestlemania or whatever. But for it to just be, hey, WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans 2026. All right, I got a year. Then, as we're going through the weeks, talking about what's coming up, Money in the Bank, boom, boom, boom. Then all of a sudden, this announcement comes out. Yeah. So about that, no, we're going back to Vegas, and we're gonna give you Money in the Bank. Now, granted, we've said it on this pod. Money in the Bank is by far coming up, competing to be along with the top 4 of the PLEs. But no offense to Money in the Bank, that ain't what we were looking forward to. We was looking forward to
It's not
WrestleMania.
SummerSlam. It's not WrestleMania. It's not the Royal Rumble.
It's not the Royal Rumble. It's not the Survivor Series. It's not neither one of those 4. But if you had to choose to knock who would be knocked out of that 4, it'd probably be Survivor Series. Probably. But with the addition with War Games, it kind of boosted Survivor Series up. So it's kind of tough for Money in the Bank to slide on into that when War Games has really just amplified Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But you take away WrestleMania, like the mecca of pro wrestling, and then you take it away from me being a Saints fan. Like, you take it away from New Orleans. Like, New Orleans is a perfect place to, like, anytime I think about WrestleMania in New Orleans now, for me, is when Daniel Bryan won the world title. He beat Batista and Randy Orton, and Michael Cole called it the Miracle on Bourbon Street. And like, the infamous, like, this would never leave anybody's memory, when Brock Lesnar beat the Undertaker to break the streak.
Yes.
So now, like, you eh, I get that at the end of the day, it's a business, and obviously they're doing it for business purposes, because I mean, if Las Vegas fork out the money you want, I mean, you got no choice but to do it. But it's getting to a point now where I feel like TKO isn't really worried about the fans. It's more of like, I mean, they diehard wrestling fans. They gonna go wherever we take them. We gonna. Hey, look, we just threw something against the wall. It looks good. Y'all go buy it up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what comes up for me as you share that is for 75 years, probably, Las Vegas has been the fight capital of the world. I mean, so many big Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, all those,
Big time heavyweight fights.
yeah, to say nothing of Anderson Silva and John Jones if we're talking UFC here. Wrestling hasn't, wrestling never grew like that. Wrestling started in the wrestling started in high school gyms and in smoky, bingo halls. That's kind of how wrestling started. Now, I get that WWE is not Joe Blow's championship wrestling where you're going to have, somebody winning getting, going through a plate glass window and getting paid $20 and a Happy Meal coupon. But you're still getting away from what made wrestling great. Now, you could argue that they really got away from their roots when Vince McMahon started buying all the territories, when he started buying the, AWA back in the day. Um, but I don't want to get in, I don't want to get like too fuddy-duddy about it. But you're pricing out wrestling fans that are not starring in a Netflix TV show, are not, movie stars, are not celebrities. We're both working men. You've got you've got a kid. We both work. And to be able to, to be able to go to a stadium to watch a big event like this would be great. But to also have the peace of mind to be able to know that you're not going to have to deal with drunk idiots, you're not going to have to deal with messy restrooms, and your snacks and drinks are going to be a lot cheaper than they would be at one of these stadiums.
Yeah. And then like, you know, outside of the people that the event is coming to, like, you're in connect like you are where you're at, I'm where I'm at. We have to travel. Like that's gas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's extra money you have to fork out just to get to the event. Then on top of that, you gotta find where to stay. Get your tickets, obviously we're gonna get merchandise or whatever to, you know, remember that event. So like I said, the way the economy is nowadays, I mean, it ain't easy.
And yeah,
In some places, eggs is $7. I mean, who's buying eggs for $7 nowadays?
it's not quite that bad up here, but still, it's still bad. It's still bad, and it just. I mean, and there's a lot of other entertainment spectacles that are kind of going through similar issues, like the concert industry, the music industry. Um, I mean, she's not my thing, but can you imagine how much prices would be for one of these Taylor Swift stadium concerts?
Oh my god! I mean, since we on that, you know, geez, currently right now, Chris Brown is the hottest thing smoking in just trying to get tickets to him. And on top of that, he's offering fans a meet and greet where you can take a picture with him. And obviously, it's not outrageous, but he'll take the picture how I guess the person wants him to take it. Like if y'all buddy, he'll take it like that or whatever. But
Hmm.
that's $1,000. And who's paying $1,000 for a meet and greet?
Just the meet and greet.
Just a meet and
Are you
greet.
going to get in the concert for that money? No.
You know what I mean? Like a picture and maybe some memorabilia, but at the same time, like it's not worth $1,000.
No, damn, no, it's not.
And then, like you said, $500 for a nosebleed seat at Wrestlemania. You are better off that same nosebleed seat. You can be at home. You can see the ring. You can see the performers.
You
You
can
are
hear the
safe.
commentators.
You can hear the commentators. You can eat. You can drink. You can be with family, people that you love, secure and safe. You don't have to fight through traffic. You don't have to. Fly out and do all this other. You don't have to go through the stress of trying to get to that seat.
And this is just all a shame because like going to an event like this is supposed to be one of the highlights of your life. It's supposed to be fun. It's like generational. It's like fathers taking their sons and daughters. I mean, it's supposed to be like a generational kind of thing. But when you're pricing out the average guy, the average wrestling fan, like the front row at a WWE show is turning into just a celebrity, a celebrity chuckle fest.
I
You're
remember.
gonna
Remember during WrestleMania. I think we sent a video in the group text, and it was Randy Orton walking with his wife, and I think he asked the fan, he said, "Hey, how much you pay for your ticket?" And he was like $30,000 or so, and Randy was like, "That's crazy." Like what?
you can put a down payment on a house for that kind of money.
You can live. You
Yes.
can live. Like who is forking out? Like, granted, if you got it, if your tax bracket is in that area, by all means, you do whatever you want because you got the money. But an average working person like us
Yes.
have no business paying that much to go to an event. $500 better include parking, ticket, merchandise, uh, food, plane ticket to and from, and you know expenses outside of going to the event. But like, or I mean, I'm not in a fairy tale world where I don't think that maybe 1,000, but at least 1,000 should be for everything, not just for the ticket or for a ticket and hotel, and you don't have no food to eat.
No food to eat. You're gonna be sleeping in your car. I mean,
Yes,
or more than likely sleeping in a rental car because
and
both you
then
and I would have to fly to an event like that.
Ryan, when was the last time in I don't know 20 years that WrestleMania just turned around and went back to the same location that it was in the year before?
It's only been one time in the 41 years that it's been. I think it was WrestleMania 4 and 5 was in Atlantic City at one of Donald Trump's properties.
4 and 5.
And we just had WrestleMania 41.
4 and 5. So
Yes.
you're telling me 4 and 5 was probably back what in the late 80s, maybe?
88, 89. Yeah.
And now we're coming to 2026, going back to Vegas. And then, not to say that the entire WrestleMania was trash because it was great. Like it wasn't the past 2 years, that's for sure, with
Right.
the whole Bloodline saga, but it was a good heart-filled, like good WrestleMania. But then we get to the last bit of that WrestleMania, and it was absolute boo boo. Or as one of our members in our group likes to say, complete trash. Like trash fire, like dumpster fire.
Just throw it in the ocean.
Just throw it in the ocean, put it in a box, close up that box, put a lock on it, and it just
And
sling it as hard
I'm
as you can in the ocean.
Yeah, and I'm not going to name names, but a big reason for that, his name is Travis Scott.
And Dwayne
And
the
well,
Rock.
yeah. Oh God.
Like at the end of the day, he's one of my favorite all time.
Same.
Love
Yeah.
Dwayne Johnson. At the same time, brother, next time you show your face, it better be you and Roman at some type of PLE for a main event. And obviously, that match is only going to happen at WrestleMania. But for now, he don't need a mic unless he's talking directly to somebody that he's going to fight. Because every time he's come out and said anything, it has produced absolutely nothing. Travis Scott at WrestleMania this whole time, and then you turn around, and you go on Pat McAfee's pod, and you said the only reason why you showed up, basically, you didn't say it this way, but that's how we interpreted it. The
Yeah.
only way, the only reason you showed up was to sell tickets. So you're basically telling us that wrestling is so good, so hot right now. So it's great to be a wrestling fan, but yet you had to show up just to entice us to buy tickets. So that's alarming.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. This I don't want to say the old man's name. He who would not name would have been poo-pooing bricks for you to come out and say something like that on live TV. Everything is in house. You don't say anything. You keep it close mouth. But now with social media and all these podcasts and everything else, it's like, I mean, everything. And I see why Triple H hates this era of wrestling because it's like it's no kayfabe. It's no kayfabe. It's hard to kayfabe when any point you can turn around and boom, somebody got a camera in your face. Like and I don't think Undertaker gets the respect that he deserves on how he kept being Undertaker for 20 plus years. He never did an interview, and anytime he did anything to that magnitude,
It was
he was the
always in
Undertaker.
character. It was always in
Always a character.
costume.
Always.
Yeah.
So, like, for that, I mean, nobody else is touching the Undertaker besides maybe MJF. I don't know if he's really an asshole outside of wrestling or that's just him. So, like, I gotta give him his place. But outside of that, like, it's no more kayfabe for real, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like the mere fact, like I remember, was it maybe the Netflix Raw premiere back in January where Michael Cole, whose real name is not Michael Cole, but he name dropped Kobe Lopez when he was talking about Seth Rollins. Now, if you don't know, Kobe Lopez is Seth Rollins' real name. That bothers me on a deep level because, yes, I mean, if we're not on, if you don't have a live mic in front of you, if you're, not sitting ringside for one of these shows, if you're doing like a podcast interview with, Logan Paul or whatever on Pat McAfee, you can get away with that.
I didn't know the Undertaker was named Mark Calloway until his like final years in WWE. I thought this man was named Undertaker the whole entire time. I thought him and Kane were brothers until I got in my 20s and realized, wrestling is predetermined. But yeah,
Well, that's adorable, but that's beside the point.
yeah. So
But like, it's a weird world we're living in, being wrestling fans right now. It's a really weird world. It's a lot of good stuff going on right now. Like the show last night, we're gonna get to talk a few of the highlights on the show. As we're talking about this, there's an NXT pay-per-view going on right now.
which I'm definitely looking at right now.
Yeah,
I'm trying to,
same here. Yeah, Stephanie Vicari just retained the women's title.
yeah.
Um, it's a lot of good work going on right now. AEW is even starting to catch fire a little bit. But I just, do you remember that famous promo that he who shall not be named gave? He's looking straight onto the camera, and he's talking about, you're tired of having your intelligence insulted. And that was kind of the unofficial beginning of the Attitude Era.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the I thought you were talking about the infamous promo we had with the whole McMahon family in the ring, and it was like, we know you're tired of our bad product and this and that, and we're gonna start giving fans what they want, and they never did until recently, like when Vince McMahon got caught in his allegations that they had to turn towards letting Triple H run the helm. But I do remember the infamous one when he was think what The Rock and Stone Cold had left, and it was pretty much a wide open door with, like, hey, who's gonna take that brass
Yeah,
knuckle?
like I think this was back 97, 98, something like that.
Like who's gonna take the helm and, like, carry this brand into the new era of, you know ruthless aggression. Yeah, it was a transition from Attitude Era to ruthless aggression, and then that's when, the John Cena's and the Edge and Jeff Hardy and, like,
Rock
Kurt
Lesnar,
Angle,
Shelton
Brock
Benjamin, yeah,
Lesnar,
Randy
there's
Orton, yeah.
Del Randy Orton, all of them was like, it's us, Eddie Guerrero, like, it
Eddie,
went
yeah.
from Raw and SmackDown, like, competing, like, this is our stars of SmackDown, this is our stars of Raw, and it was good then too.
Well, like, it really makes me sad. It really makes me sad that we have spent 40 minutes, over 30 minutes, complaining about what's bad about wrestling, because we've got a lot of good stuff going on in wrestling right now. Um, and I'd love
Like,
to talk.
we were literally finna get uh a NXT wrestler finna fight a TNA wrestler for the TNA title on a WWE product PLE. Like, who would have ever thunk that?
Absolutely. We're about to have a AAA Lucha Libre WWE crossover. We're about to have that forbidden door, to borrow the AEW phrase. We've got, the Money in the Bank show is looking to be an absolute classic.
Yeah, and it's gonna be one because, I mean, anytime we're in a big city like LA or uh wherever, like, New
Right.
Orleans, New York, whatever, it's always bound to be amplified.
Those big arenas that WWE played, those important arenas, the Superdome,
They know the stars gonna be out.
Madison Square Garden, the new Intuit Dome or whatever it's called out in Los Angeles.
Yep, yep.
That's yeah.
SoFi Stadium.
Well, SoFi Stadium is the football stadium where they had
Football. Yes, 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 yes,
yeah
yes,
where they had Wrestlemania
yes, 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 yes.
39.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about Saturday night's main event.
Okay.
Now, Saturday night's main event, the last few episodes since the relaunch back at the beginning of 2025, or was it the end of yeah, it was the end of 2024, it's like December 24. A lot of these have felt like glorified house shows. Now, Saturday night there were no title changes, but there were some really strong matches. There was some really strong matches, and my favorite, story beat of the entire, and we kind of hinted on this last week, but my favorite story beat of the entire show was Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker finding their third guy in the returning Bronson Reed. And did we not talk about that last week? That very thing?
You know, like I wish, hopefully people will listen to our pod a little bit more, but it's like we got this like crystal ball, and it's like
Yeah.
we put names in the hat, and then some names we pull out, and it just be like, ah, we told you. And Bronson Reed was the double, like we didn't know because I mean it wasn't like no really big updates on his ankle or anything like that, but it it made sense. Like it was only three dudes really that made sense. And he was on the top of that list because of the fact that, like, how are you going to say we are the future of WWE? Okay. Obviously Self is the present, and Breaker is the future. And you can say necessarily that Bronson is the future as well. Like, I mean, at one point he was basically Jekyll Fatu. He had a
Totally.
rocket on his back.
Totally.
He tsunami Seth Rollins. He tsunami the Strowman. He tsunami the who was it? Who was it? I feel like he tsunami somebody else outside of them two. But he was on a trajectory of going up. Like everybody, anytime he was
Yeah.
going to tsunami somebody, they kept R-Truth, yes. So it was like fans ate it up. They wanted him to do it more and more and more. And like, I mean, for what it's worth, our guy Braun Strowman, I mean, he don't get the credit they deserve, but he really put over Reed with them two having that feud they had,
He
and then
made
him.
I mean, Braun Strowman beat up his knees are shot, but he gave a serious rub to that big boy.
Big old rub.
He gave a big rub to Bronson Reed. And Bronson Reed, Bronson Reed, like he's got a lot of Bam Bam Bigelow in him. Got a
Yes,
great look. He's athletic as hell.
yes,
Got a great finishing move. Um, and he's a killer. Apparently, he's a super nice guy outside of the ring, but his character, he is a straight menace.
and I mean
And
that faction is gonna be dangerous. Like you got him doing the tsunami, you got Breaker with his spear, and now you got the visionary, the architect, the mastermind. I mean, he had Paul Heyman shocked. Paul Heyman didn't even know.
yeah,
So it's really gonna be amazing to see that dynamic work out, them three. But then like I feel like with them three, Breaker and Reed, they got them tempers. So, you know, it ain't gonna be an easy thing to just tell them to do something and they just do it. They are, you know, they And that's the thing. That what makes a strong faction. When all the guys are better off alone, but when you put them together, it just makes a beautiful, beautiful cake.
I mean, that was the kind of the Four Horsemen's my favorite faction of all time.
Yes.
And that was kind of their secret sauce, because you had Ric Flair, world champion, 9 million time world champion, limousine riding, jet and flying, all that stuff. You had Arn Anderson, who was always in that upper of the mid card. And then you had Tully Blanchard and Barry Windham in their, in their classic kind of, kind of lineup. Great tag team, but also could be great single stars. But put them together, and it was magic. One of the best heel factions of all time. And you're totally right. Those three guys, like Seth Rollins, first ballot Hall of Famer, Brian Breaker,
The future.
strap a rocket to that guy.
Future
Bronson
champion.
Reed,
Yeah.
Bronson Reed, you know, I want to see him run it back with Jacob Fatu so bad.
Oh my God. Oh my
Um,
God. That's definitely gonna be draft. I can see them two ending up on the same program, and we're definitely going to get a program with them too.
but I'm just saying, all three of those guys are big stars in their own right, but put them
Oh,
together, I mean, almost makes me think, is there a fourth?
I swear I was just about to ask you that question. Do we stop at 3 or do we get 4?
I mean, if they're really doing this as like Evolution 2.0, obviously you need a fourth.
Right.
Um, who would that guy be though?
You know what? If because I've seen it and I seen online different sources, wrestling sources, that the main caveat going towards SummerSlam is going to be circled around CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Like basically, we're gonna run that back.
Yeah.
And some people probably hate it, some people don't. It makes sense because
There's
I
still a
mean,
bunch of money in it left.
there's still a bunch of money in it. It adds more depth and layers, as you like to say, with the story. Um, it definitely pushed the narrative now that with if Seth gets another person, which maybe it might not be 4, it might be 5, because you can go from SummerSlam all the way to Survivor Series with whatever they do, and then on top of that, oh God forbid, I mean, if when somebody out of the group wins the Money in the Bank, that definitely will add a big, big like light bulb going in your head, like, oh, now the
Breaker.
title is definitely
Yeah.
finna get involved in this.
Yeah.
But I mean, because obviously we're not done. Roman is coming back.
Of course.
Roman want to go ahead get his pound of flesh too. So with Roman being added, now you have outside of I don't know what really I don't know what they're doing with Jay, but if they do it, you got Jay, you got Cody, you got Sammy, you got CM Punk, and then you got Roman. That's 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
You already got 3 with those guys. So who are the next 2? Could it be an Austin Theory? Could it be a you know Aaron of Dragunov? Could he come back in time?
Dragunov. I mean, if he, if we don't know how his rehab is
Yeah,
going
we
with his
don't know how
knee.
his rehab
So,
going, but that's a potential. Or or seeing how things are moving, and I mean, call ups are intimate. They're
mm-hmm.
coming. Could it be an Obi Fabi? Could it be Trick Williams? Could it be a Carmelo Hayes? Could it be one of those guys? I mean, the list is endless.
Yeah, I mean, I would, we're watching born in Obafemi right now in the
Yeah.
in the NXT pay-per-view. And I've been high on Obafemi ever since he came to NXT. I mean, the dude, he's got such a great look. He's a big, good-looking guy, great presence in the ring. Um, it, it could be a good fit, but you've already got three bruisers in that, in that faction with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed.
Right. But and then we got and in the background we still got Amaga son and the other guy, the tall one. He's signed, ain't he?
Hikuleo, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. Well,
So
I hope like hell they don't call him Tawatonga, but um uh but I mean, and and you've got Gorillas of Destiny eventually going to be coming back with with Tamatonga and Tongaloa. I blanked
yeah,
on their names for a second. Brandy would kill us, but I blanked on their names for a second.
yeah. She don't play about Tamatonga for sure. That's
Her her future ex-husband. But
yes.
but but you had that, and we kind of hit it on it early in the show. But that cage match, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, it's kind of a letdown for me. It
Agreed.
was a good match. It was a good match, but for a blow-off cage match, I mean, obviously Drew McIntyre wasn't 100%. Was probably, probably in serious pain trying to work that match. But at the same time, don't forget Cody Rhodes working that Hell in the Cell match with a torn pec muscle.
And it was very visible that he torn that mug off the bone because the purple was purple. So
That was gross. That
one of
that
the most gruesome things I've watched on WWE before, and
but that was also match of the year that year.
yeah,
I mean, it was a
which
phenomenal.
which I think if it wasn't for that, I think fans wouldn't have gravitated to Cody as much as they do now because of the fact that this man literally put his livelihood on the line to
Yeah.
entertain us.
Yeah, I mean, he took his robe off, took his shirt off, and he's got this. I mean, his chest was almost as crimson red as this hoodie I'm wearing right now.
And you can literally hear. I think a fan was like, like a woman was like, ugh. Like it was like
Yeah, like she squealed.
that she squealed. Yeah, you heard a squeal in the background. It was just like, oh my god, this is really real. Like this ain't fake.
I thought wrestling was fake. No,
Yeah,
no, predetermined. Yes, but we don't use the F word. Yeah.
never,
Uh,
never.
but I'm kind of with Jesse Ventura on this one because the way that finish of that match wound up with Damian just walking out of the gate of that cage landed like a wet fart to me.
This is petty. This is says you might as well have the limo come out and carry this. You might as well should just had the limo sitting right there at the door, with the red carpet rolled out for him to just walk out. I was like,
Yes.
yo, but I get it because like most cage matches we've seen in recent years at that, it's been dramatic. Like it ain't been like just a simple win. It's been like you had to like literally crawl out of the ring, get knocked out the ring, get snatched out the ring, or you win by pin or submission.
Or
But
climb over the wall
or
and
climb over the wall.
yeah.
But like to just simply just walk out, it's just like, okay, well, what was the what was the need for a cage match then?
Could you imagine some of those classic war games matches from the 80s with with the four horsemen against Sting and Nikita Koloff and all those old school stars, and the winner of that match just walking out of the cage instead
Like
of instead of making somebody submit with blood on his face. I mean, that finish, I think, ruined that match for me.
It did. I mean, nothing about that match outside of that particular thing was bad.
Right.
It was
The
just the
match was
finish.
really good except for that finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had the Women's United States Championship match. You got anything on that? Because I mean, I love Chelsea
Uh,
Green. You know, I love Zelina Vega. The
both
match,
women did a
the
great
match
job.
did nothing for me. Yeah,
Yeah, the match
I mean,
did nothing for
it was
me.
a good match. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but there was no heat on it.
Oh my! I mean, the only heat I got is just basically Selena botching the 619 and cracking her in the nose.
Yeah, you're breaking poor Chelsea's nose. Yeah,
But the crazy thing is that in my eye, that adds to her character because, like, if anybody knows about her, is like she been in matches where she bled. Like she's been in those particular matches, and that's like part of her character. And I feel like you could probably run with that. Like, she'll probably come and do the whole like what Cody and I believe Christian did where they wore a mask all the time and like, oh, don't touch my face, and then like when she fully heals or whatever, she's still wearing the mask or whatever, and then she like takes it off and throws it at him and use it to win, like or something like that, because
yeah,
she's a heel.
yeah.
So
I mean, do you remember when they had that big pull apart and Becky Lynch got her nose broken by, I think, a random punch from
Nia
Nia
J-
Jax, and
Nia J-
how badass she looked with her, just pouring blood from her nose and
that
just
was the start
standing
of
there.
the
Yeah,
man.
that was the start of her, you know, a rocket.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, and then you have that, and then you have John Cena against Ron Cena. R-Truth. I thought the match did what it needed to do. No way you were going to have R-Truth go over.
No,
Um,
which
John Cena, had to do his heel thing. But at the same time, that match was flat as a pancake to me.
once again though, didn't we mention the week before though? I mean, we literally like called this match almost to a T. We said, first of all, I was shocked that John came out first, but he needed to come out first because our our main man, our truth, aka Ron Cena,
Yep.
came out decked out and all. I mean, he played the he played John Cena to the T.
Came out with the same music, came out saluting the camera guys, running to the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, threw the towel.
Yeah.
He threw the hat out like he threw the hat like John when he runs against the rope, and then he turns and then he turns back and do the whole this, and then as soon as he turned around, it was clothesline from HW hockey sticks.
Yeah.
But the
Again,
simple fact that we said that obviously we knew R-Truth wasn't going to win this match by no means. Um, he was saying that he wanted to bring his childhood hero back. He did in a sense. Uh, if we're going off of what we've recently said about John turning heel, it kind of feels like a Star Wars route where you have Darth Vader go to the dark side,
mm-hmm.
fights himself about going to the dark side, constantly getting reminded of who he was before he joined the dark side to finally realize, okay, this is not me, and then come back. Did we see a little crinkle in the armor a little bit last night? Yeah, with the whole little stare down when he had the belt in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would have gave me more out of that match, where
Thank you. Yeah.
you would have gave, okay, he did have a little glimpse of like doing John Cena's moveset and picking up a pin, like getting a 2 count. But give me more, a little bit of R-Truth. Give me what R-Truth is. Like, he has his own finish move. He has his own moves. Give me the split. If he can still do the split, give me the split. And then you go into the whole arsenal of like John, pulling out the heel tactics. But you went from John being strong in the match to Ron coming back, making a little comeback, and then turn around. Well, excuse me, you had the pause with the belt. Then you had John, you know, receive some of R-Truth's offense. Then you had John turn to the heel tactics of, going for the low blow. I guess that's his heel finish move, low blow, and then or RKO. I mean not RKO, excuse me. Attitude adjustment. But it could have been better. It did what it needed to do. Um, but then we go from that to the shocking, which is not really shocking if I would have really fully thought about it. I knew John was going to get involved with that championship match. I didn't know how he's going to get involved, but I knew he was going to get involved because the fact that we haven't seen you two face off each other since Royal Rumble. It was cool to see both of y'all standing there looking at each other with the titles. For you to point out the fact that you're going to retire with the title, you're going to be the last true champion, and then it'll be a shame if you lost to Logan Paul, a YouTuber, and that'll ruin wrestling. So, by you saying that, why did you come out, pull the ref out, and attack Jay when you could have simply, try to help Logan win the belt? When you're saying you're trying to ruin
Yeah.
wrestling, as you
Yeah.
say, that was a big confusion. But then the match was good. I give Logan his props
Yeah.
as a competitor, which I just found out recently today, as a matter of fact. Jay flew out to Puerto Rico. I mean, I'm pulling behind the curtain,
Yep.
but he flew out to Puerto Rico to work on the match with Logan Paul. I do
Mm-hmm.
give Logan Paul his respect on that because,
Absolutely.
got a ring at home. He takes this business serious. The person Logan Paul, obviously we do not like, but the person, the worker Logan Paul, I respect. So, they work on the match or whatever, and then I said that I felt like it was going to be a return of somebody. I didn't know who. Obviously, it's got to be Cody because I mean Roman. We never
Bobby.
know. We
Yeah.
never know. So, um, it was good to see Cody. Cody looked like he's been in the gym. You know, uh, and it was nice to hear him with his. Every time he talks on the mic, he's very passionate. Like at the end of the day, like he can't even like just talk semi calm. Like okay, like basically how we talking this on the pod and not feel like he's amped up. So
Yeah.
it's very shocking that we're going to get a tag match with Jay and Cody versus Logan and John. And it's crazy that it's going to be at Money in the Bank. Both titles are going to be in that match, not necessarily being defended, but it's an opportunity for some shenanigans to happen if the man's Money in the Bank is before that tag match.
I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that because if they lead the whole show with the men's Money in the Bank match, you may be onto something there.
Because if I'm not mistaken, for them to name that match already, obviously we know we still got the qualifiers or whatever. But
Right.
for you to name that match, and then you have, I mean, three of the biggest stars. I'm sorry, Logan, but three of the biggest stars in the company right now in that match. It has no business either opening that PLE, being in the middle of that PLE. It definitely got to be the main event.
Yep.
So, do we see somebody lose that belt? I doubt it. But I wouldn't be shocked if the person that wins that Money in the Bank makes an appearance.
Depends on who wins that briefcase.
And it depends on who wins that briefcase.
Yeah, depends on who wins the briefcase. Because if it's somebody that's already got heat with somebody in that match, we might could see something. I don't think he gets cashed in on, but we could see something.
Now, the only title I feel like if somebody wins, which, by the looks of things, who's ever in that qualifying match is definitely going after the world title, because the undisputed title, obviously John has, Cody's involved, so it's obviously we're going on this long road of them to feuding. But Jay is the, I hate to say it, but sacrificial lamb. But it also helps Jay in a sense because, like, either way it goes, we're gonna love Jay. We're glad he's the champion. We want him to stay champion. But also, with that being said, um, it'd definitely help him even more if he was to like get cashed in on, kind of in the John Cena sense. Like John Cena got cashed in on, but everybody's still behind John Cena as far as trying to get that belt back.
And if you remember, John Cena was the first victim of a Money in the Bank cash in.
To Edge, aka Cole.
Yes, he who shall not be named. But yeah, I think that, I gotta wonder, like, how you set up one of the SummerSlam main events with that tag team match. Because I feel like you're missing a big opportunity by not getting CM Punk involved. Because I was thinking one of the things that they could run back in John Cena's retirement tour is Punk Cena.
Mhm.
And I feel like they're kind of missing out on that. It
You
may
know
be
what?
down
I
the
think
road, I don't know, but I feel like they're missing out on that.
so. With that being said, what you were saying, I just realized we have two qualifier matches Monday night, right?
Okay.
Um, it's a triple threat between Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Sami Zayn. That's one of the qualifier matches. Which, obviously my guy's Finn is in it. So I see Finn winning because uh Seth ain't gonna let Sammy win, and Sammy ain't gonna let Seth win. So it's gonna be a payoff for them to screwing each other out of getting in the qualifying match. So obviously that frees up Finn to get in. Then we have um Chad Gable, aka uh, um, what's the name? El
El
Grande
Grande Americano.
Americano. Yes. And then we have Penta and his brother. Wow.
Now that's juicy.
Penta and his brother and Chad Gable for the qualifying spot. I mean, you really could flip a coin and have out of those two. I mean, I don't see Chad Gable getting in. I'm sorry, but because I mean, he got a match at AAA. So you think he's gonna win and be in AAA and be in the Money in the Bank match? Nah, come on.
No, no, no. I feel like the way that they've been pushing Penta,
Yeah,
I feel like I feel like he's got the edge on that. But at the same time, I feel like they're working, they're trying to work an angle where they can get Penta and Ray Phoenix back together in their tag team. So who knows? But that match is going to be a banger.
It's gonna be a banger. Yes,
That match
for
is
sure.
absolutely going to be a banger. And the mere fact that not only is, as we're recording this, Money in the Bank is in less than 2 weeks, but there's one of those Saudi shows coming up at the end of June. The calendar is so weird.
It's is as a wrestling fan, obviously we love it, but as a wrestling fan that grew up in the Attitude and Ruthless era, and just the dark ages of wrestling when Super Cena was going on, um, it just feels not quite right. I mean, it's too much all at once. What's that saying? Quality over quantity, because it just feels like we're getting more quantity and like some quality. Like, here and there we get great matches, great feuds, but then it's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just almost like it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's not enough time for certain storylines to catch traction,
I mean,
and it hurts.
the mere fact that WrestleMania was towards the end of April when it's usually the first weekend of April kind of threw things off a little bit. But you had the latest Royal Rumble in the history, I believe, because it actually happened in a February. Elimination Chamber was kind of compact. WrestleMania, instead of a month build, you've got like 7 weeks. But then don't forget, this is also the first 2-night SummerSlam too.
Yes. Uh okay. When you think about it though, Saturday night main event is um still a glorified house show. So
It is.
with that being said, in between Backlash and Money in the Bank, I guess we still had time to build things up, but it just didn't feel that way because it's like with that being a glorified house show, it felt like a PLE.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, it 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 helps and it hurts because it helps. Obviously, it helps them because I mean they get the money in their pocket or whatever, but it kind of hurts us because it's like it's not enough time. As a matter of fact, they could have added one more match. They could have added like a qualifying match, something to like I guess help speed along the qualifying matches so we can you know because obviously it's going to be a qualifying match on Raw, which is two, and then you still got
Mhm.
I think they said two more qualifying matches for SmackDown, so you're gonna have two
Yeah, I
qualifying
believe
matches
so.
in
Yeah.
SmackDown too. So is that actually gonna be six people in the ladder match, right?
That's what they usually have.
So all right, and then I guess we have the take home week where they're gonna take home to Money in the Bank. So are we gonna have the six guys come out and speak, or like, which I never, to me personally, I never liked that. Like, I don't need you to speak. I know why you want the Money in the Bank. Like everybody knows why you want the Money in the Bank. So
Huh.
why are you speaking? Obviously, you're gonna come out and y'all gonna fight. So I get it, but I rather if you want to do it like a sports, since it's TKO, since we're talking about sports, since you want to do it like a sport thing, all right. What's the most exciting weeks of football towards the end, where teams are trying to fight for that last spot, teams are trying to get hot towards the end to go into the playoffs and continue on the hot streak to the Super Bowl. So why not have? one qualifying match on SmackDown and one qualifying match on Raw, and then the last spot available, you have those guys fight the take home show, and now you got the guy coming in that just won that spot. He's either gonna be hot or cold, or it builds excitement towards Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I mean, look at last college football season for a great example on that. Ohio
Correct.
State wins the national championship. They get bodied by Michigan in their rivalry season finale, but then they get hot, go into the final, win the whole thing. My Atlanta Braves are also a great example of that. Back in 2021, they were just mediocre for so long, but they got rocket hot right after the All-Star break and ended up winning the World Series. So it's not always about simply, just like who looks strongest. It's about who
Correct.
gets hot. And if they're trying to play this as like a sports kind of presentation, they need to kind of consider that.
I mean, if they want to, email us or text us or some type of way, we can send some information out to WWE executives, and
Yeah. I
we
mean,
can write
look,
a couple of storylines for them. Yeah,
look, I'm gonna be, if I'm able to go on my morning run tomorrow, probably be running right by WWE World Headquarters. It's like 15 minutes from my place. So you can't, um, yeah, I mean, if you know where to find me, Paul, you know where to find me. I'm not too far away. Um, oh boy. Well,
can you believe that we're on episode 15 of our luxurious podcast?
it feels, yeah, it feels a little surreal. It feels a little surreal because we've got, we've still got big plans for this.
Oh yeah,
We,
we still work. Like, hey, we behind the scenes grinding and still working on some big things to bring to you guys. You
yeah,
know,
I mean,
I'm sure y'all.
we just started a Facebook page for it. We're going to include the link in the description of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this here video, and also follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. That's where you'll find us every week.
Yeah, and I'm sure y'all are tired of seeing our mugs and hearing our voices. We're gonna work on trying to get some more people added to the pod, and hopefully maybe even by the strength of God, maybe we might get a wrestling one day, maybe. But you know,
Yeah. I'd love to have some. I'd love to have some interviews. I'd love to have some conversations here. I'd love to be able to have Michael Cole on the program and ask
oh
him
God,
why in the hell
that'd
he
be awesome.
blocked me on Twitter.
X.
It's Twitter. Thank you. His
Just like
mama,
just like
just like Walter. His mama called him Walter. His mama called him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter.
or since NXT is going on, his name is Ricky Starks, not Ricky Saints.
Ricky, oh my God. And don't get me started on Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo. What the
I
hell is that
swear,
all about?
since we were talking about this, we could do a whole episode of just names. Why they change people's names? Like why some names worked, but others didn't.
I mean, I'm willing to admit, Gunther, it works, but he's
It
still
works.
Walter to me. Damn it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like to me, ever since they changed his name to Walter, it feels like his chest chops ain't chopping like they used to when he was Walter. And you talk about chest chops, they need to bring my boy Keith Lee back. They need to bring Keith Lee back, give him the push that he deserves because he's not being used correctly. I don't know if he's a health reason, but him going to AEW was the wrong decision. They should never released him. He was on the trajectory to be up there with the Jacob Fatus and the Bronson Reeds of the world. So bring my boy back so we can have a match between him and Walter.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I never will forget. I had a conversation with an old coworker. And we'll wrap this up here, but I had a conversation with an old coworker of mine, who said that he saw Keith Lee in an independent show probably around 2010, 2011, something like that. One of the most insane things he's ever seen in his life. A dude that size should not be that athletic.
Right.
Period. And he got wasted in WWE, and he's been wasted in AEW. And it's sad. And it's sad.
Sad. Big sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got Money in the Bank coming up in 2 weeks, and we'll definitely have a recap episode on that. So watch
Oh, yeah.
this.
Look out for our prediction next week. Well, yeah, next week. Yeah. Next week will be our prediction. Then the following week after that, it will be our review. So,
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have a full card by the time we record our next episode.
oh yeah, looking forward to it.
All right. All right, my brother. Same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Always.
All right, my guy. And thank you for listening and watching the Wrestling Roundtable podcast, a presentation of Royal Hearts Media. For more information, you can find me at royalheartsmedia.com, or you can follow our Facebook page. And until we eat again, for Dom, I'm Ryan. Thanks for listening, and so long for now.